a clout contest. It's a clout contest. And the worst part are that the contestants are people that were never popular in high school, thought they should have been, and never got over that. I saw a video that a woman stitched where she said that conventions need to return to cringe, and I couldn't agree more because there's this thought that's been sticking with me for a while. Conventions are really one of our last third spaces as nerds, and people really don't consider that. The vast majority of us were being bullied for being nerds growing up, and so conventions were that one place where we all could go maybe once or twice a year and just party and have fun with our friends and commune and be ourselves without being judged. And it was like that for a little while, but then anime went mainstream and so did cosplay, and then the pandemic happened, and then everyone went a little feral, and now the scene is so different. People have always gone to conventions to be seen. That's one of the charms of conventions. You go to see people's work and to show off your work, but now people are going specifically to go viral, all with no marketable skills or way to capitalize off whether or not you even go viral in the first place. And at worst, some people just cause havoc to go viral because they know that that gets engagement, and it just makes it a bad time for everybody. Just stop going for the clout. Go because you like anime. Go because you like cosplay. Go because you like seeing craftsmanship or learning from panels. All the things that conventions were originally for, instead of making it this super disingenuous clout contest. And this is coming from someone who often works with brands and had one of those street interview type videos do 500,000 in like 36 hours. Like, no one's having fun anymore. It's all just content. Like, just be weird and have fun. That's the stuff we like. Just be weird and authentic. Go to conventions because you want to go. Let conventions be weird again. No one's fun anymore. This fucking sucks.
I want to talk about this comment because it does bring up an interesting point that is very true. And that is that conventions, cosplay, anime, things of that nature have become a lot more mainstream. And when something becomes mainstream, it usually means the people that were popular in high school or were well liked in high school and were never an outcast are suddenly interested in the things that the outcasts and the nerds and the not so well liked people were very, very interested in. When I was in high school, you were roasted if you liked anime. You were made fun of relentlessly, and you were considered a loser and a geek and a nerd, and people didn't want to associate with you. But now, liking anime is much more widely accepted and in fact considered on trend and very cool. I have a coworker at one of my jobs that is significantly younger than me. I think he just turned 20 and I'm 32. And one of our other coworkers happened to bring up that they wish they could have grown up and been a teenager in the 2000s because they think it probably would have been really cool. And I said, yes and no, you are looking through it a little bit through rose-colored glasses. There was a lot of nuance and just messy things going on at that time that kind of made it a little bit not so great. And granted, you could say that about any decade, any generation, but you know, there's a lot of things that we have fixed from the 2000s that are no longer accepted. So there's some good and there's some bad. And then I was kind of giving examples because they asked for examples, and I said one of the things, for example, is anime is so widely accepted now, but when I was growing up in high school, like I got really made fun of for being into anime. People made fun of me and acted like it was weird and it made me a loser. And my coworker, who like I said is much younger than me, was like shocked. He was like, get the hell out of here. What do you mean it wasn't considered cool when you were in high school? I couldn't live if it wasn't cool. Like I wouldn't be able to survive. And it made me laugh a little bit because it also just brought up this whole idea that I would love to talk about too, which is people wouldn't be that into anime right now if it wasn't made cool. Like when my coworker said that, and I love him to death, to me that translated to if right now, even though he likes the anime that he watches, and good for him, but if right now somebody walked up to him and told him that anime isn't cool anymore and you're weird if you like it, I think he might stop watching it because he wouldn't like the, connotation that it makes him weird and it makes him a loser. Which it doesn't, but the point is that's what it was like in the 2000s. And I do think that because it's so mainstream, it did kill a lot of the things about cosplay conventions, anime conventions, comic conventions that made them fun. Because what made these cons so fun in their heyday is the fact that you could be cringy and you could be the weird kid, you could be the outcast with other kids who were considered the weird kid, who were considered the outcasts, and you could just have fun and enjoy the fandom you were a part of and get like crazy obsessed about it and scream at the top of your lungs excited about a cosplay and just, you know, be dorky. And you could be dorky and it wasn't considered the type of thing that everybody around you was going to make fun of you for, because everybody was congregating at this convention to do the exact same thing. And now, because it's mainstream, and the kids who were popular, who were always on trend, who weren't always, quote unquote, the geeks and the nerds and the losers or what have you, have now started joining these spaces. And because they would make fun of people who acted that way, it totally drove out that safe space energy of this is a place where you can go to completely be a dork and just have fun and be cringy and not worry what anybody thinks. Because now they're in these spaces and they are judging. So even though they're actively attending these conventions, some of them maybe are even cosplaying and they're going to make content and what have you, because they're only into it because it's considered mainstream and cool and okay to like these things now, their presence there is making it so that the people that are actually into these things not be able to feel like they can be themselves, because those people still have that energy of being that cool, popular kid that was never an outcast. So even though they're at this space, they're still going to make fun of the people that are also at this space, who have always occupied this space, and make fun of them for acting in ways that they consider cringe, or film them without their consent to post about it and say, look how cringy this person is being. So with this commenter saying that mainstream killed a lot of the fun in some ways, I completely agree. Because the people that are now occupying these spaces alongside with us are the people that used to make fun of people who liked anime, or make fun of people who maybe were neurodivergent or acted differently because they were really excited about their fandoms and the things they were interested in. And in their minds, because they always thought that that was cringy, even though they're now occupying these spaces too, because they totally love anime, they totally love comics, they totally love all these things. They like it, but they still think it's weird when people like it a little too much for their liking. And so I do think that the fact that as much as it's very nice that a lot of this stuff has become more mainstream and more easily accessible, because it's more mainstream, it feels a lot more repressed. Like you can't be yourself, you can't be goofy, you can't have fun. It's just very, very, very unfortunate, and it kind of sucks. But I will forever be very grateful that I grew up at the time that I did, because even though I was made fun of for liking a lot of the things that I liked, I got to be in attendance to conventions when they were kind of in their peak, which is awesome.
Looking back at this as a young adult, Brody, like, I got so much respect for the nerds in school, because they were so secure in themselves that they were okay being different. They were okay sitting in the corner playing Nintendo DS at lunch. They were okay doing school plays because they knew who they were. Those were the most mentally mature people in school, bro, are the nerds, because they were willing to exclude themselves and sacrifice how people look at them socially for a peace of mind. Like, that's very strong as like a teenager to do. And looking back on it, because for me, like, I was a like I said, in sports, I was like a 60 overall. Goddamn, maybe with badges I'll be like a 65 overall. But bro, like, the nerds, they knew who they were. You know what I'm saying? You gotta respect that.